힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The race is on for the presidential election. It is heating up. And this issue is at the forefront, where the presidential office will be located. It could be a matter of 청와대 versus Yongsan, but there are talks of relocating the presidential office to Sejong. There is this issue that's, been in the works for the last 20 years, but one thing that is still unresolved, even involving a constitutional court ruling. But some say that it could be an important move towards decentralization and balanced development. So we'll see if the presidential election will give this issue the necessary momentum. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, the 10th of April on BeFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, wavers out there. I hope you're all doing well. The race was fierce this morning, so I believe, Benny, yes, you were first today. However, I want to give a special shout out, not to, of course, all the early bird wavers out there, but Kim Sung-han, who says, 야간 근무 퇴근길에 듣네요. 너무 피곤하시겠어요. You must be so tired. So, but the good news is that you're on your way home and hopefully you can get some rest. So thanks for joining us early this morning. Well, like I said in the opening, the race is on, right? Several major politicians have or are going to be throwing their hats into the presidential race. And among the many issues that they'll have to answer is this. Where are they going to be working from if elected? So, the issue of moving the presidential office has surfaced across the sphere, the political sphere, but especially in the opposition sphere, because, of course, there is no transition period for the new president. He or she will have to work out of Yongsan immediately. But as the Yongsan office was established by former President Yoon Suk-yeol, the next president may not want to be associated with this location. Realistically, it's a move that will take time and money, but symbolism may trump these practical issues and problems. The other option is going back to 청와대, but the topic of moving the presidential office to Sejong, that is under discussion as well. This would be a more kind of mid to long-term solution to really get the ball rolling on relocating the administrative capital to Sejong for the sake of regional balance. And this effort has been in place since the former Nomuyan administration in 2004. But back then, the Constitutional Court put brakes on that. So it is said that the fact that Seoul is the capital is a part of the conventional constitution, 관습헌법, which has been kind of controversial among jurists. So experts say that officially moving the administrative capital would require a constitutional amendment or a referendum, 국민투표. However, moving the presidential office would be up to the new president, and we'll see whoever the new president is, whether and how he or she will push this matter through. All right, now it's time for our text topic. Are you ready? This is like a discussion I've had several times personally with people around me, but here we go. Until what age should parents financially and emotionally support their children? 자, 부모가 자식의 어디까지 책임져야 될까요? 자, 몇 살까지 경제적 지원을 해야 된다고 생각하시는 것도 너무 궁금하고요. 경제적 플러스 정서적 독립에 대한 여러분의 생각이 I'm so curious. I want to know what you think. 나눠볼게요. For one, I don't know about the financial, but emotionally, isn't it like forever, kind of? That's how I feel. But anyhow, let me get your thoughts. Send your responses into BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel. Subscribe, and you can log into chat away with our waivers. Excuse me, pound 9050 on your phone. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through our KakaoTalk channel as well. Type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find us. And you can send in your messages plus photos too. The ways you can listen to us. So many different ways. 90.5 and 103.3 FM. That's on the radio if you're in the Busan area. And like I said, we are streaming live right now on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. We have two apps, the BFM app, the Papbang app, which you can listen to the Waggle segments. So it's Thursday already. Can you believe? So we have Chris with Beyond the Headlines. And in hour number 2, we have Stephanie with City Insights. For a special interview, we're going to be talking about an issue that has come up because of the Trump administration. The whole issue is this. Some reports indicate that U.S. green card holders, so somebody that has a 영주권, even they are experiencing increased scrutiny when traveling internationally. So the big question is this. If you're a green card holder or someone in your family is it safe to travel? You know, I talked about, and we've talked about before, even, you know, for students who may have their visas revoked for one reason or another in the U.S. right now. So let's talk about this because it is a real issue affecting so many people. That's coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with today's headlines. It's now 7:06. These are today's headlines. Trump pauses reciprocal tariffs on most countries except China. U.S. President Donald Trump paused plans to hike tariffs on most countries except China, unveiling a 90-day pause and pulling back from his global trade war after days of market turmoil and warnings of recession. U.S. stocks skyrocket after Trump signals shift in trade policy. U.S. markets soared after Trump announced a 90-day pause on higher reciprocal tariffs for most countries as investors dove in at first sign of eased trade policy. DP chair Lee Jae-myung steps down to run for president. Democratic Party or DP leader Lee Jae-myung stepped down from the party chairmanship yesterday to run for president in the June 3rd election, with an official declaration to come today. PPP to pick presidential candidate by May 3rd. The People Power Party, or PPP, announced yesterday it will hold a party convention on May 3rd to finalize its candidate for the June 3rd presidential election. Constitutional Court Justice Ma Eun-hyuk begins term. Justice Ma Eun-hyuk began his term on the Constitutional Court yesterday, vowing to uphold constitutional principles while dismissing concerns raised by the conservative bloc about his ideological bias. These are today's headlines. It's time for Busan Updates. We have Sue in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, so spring-like. I love the floral. It looks really nice on you.
Oh, thank you. I got some birds on my blouse.
Oh, are they birds? I thought they were flowers.
마이크님.
Birds. Oh, okay.
They're tiny.
Oh, they're tiny? Okay. Well, for our text topic today, we are talking about financial and emotional support. Up to what age do you think is appropriate?
So my Western identity tells me
Tells
once
you?
I go to college, you have to be financially, independent.
Okay. Oh, how? Like even tuition or just like aside from tuition?
Aside from tuition.
Okay, so tuition is included. Yes. And then?
Maybe partially. Tuition
Partially?
is- yeah.
Uh-huh.
You can get some help with the tuition, but living expenses or whatnot, that's up to you. But emotional support is needed until death, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so separate. It's different, right?
Yeah, I'm still like, my parents are still babying me. Like sometimes I whine. And I'm like, I act like such a little girl, but
Yes.
nowadays I'm much older, so I feel like I'm the parent of my parents.
Oh, you're kind of parenting the parents, so to speak, right? Being more
Sometimes.
supportive. Interesting. Well, what about the Korean side of you? Like you said, the Western side, right? The Korean side, what do you think? As a child,
So
financially?
I think it's it's okay to be not so independent until you secure a good job.
Oh, a good job. What if you don't get a good job until you're 40?
But then you have to work. Definitely. That's not an excuse.
Not an excuse. All right, got it. Well, we're going to dive into our Busan updates. First, we're going to talk about Kimhae International Airport, seeing the highest international passenger growth across the nation, and that's for the first quarter, right?
Yes. Despite a general slowdown in travel demand due to the December 3rd martial law situation and the Muan Airport incident, Kimhae Airport recorded the highest growth in international passengers among all Korean airports in the first quarter of 2025. And a total of almost 2.53 million international passengers passed through Kimhae, and this is a 15.4% increase from last year, outperforming major hubs like Incheon and Gimpo.
Ah, yes. So tell us about the reason for this growth. More details, please.
The growth was driven largely by strong demand on short-haul routes, especially to Japan, which consisted of 38% of all international passengers, followed by Vietnam, Taiwan, and China. And the number of Chinese passengers jumped 50% from last year's first quarter, while routes to Vietnam, Taiwan, and Japan also saw double-digit increases.
Sure.
And top-performing routes were Osaka, Fukuoka, Taipei, and Tokyo, with emerging vacation hotspots like Nha Trang and Da Nang also gaining popularity.
Right.
And notably, Okinawa and Hong Kong route saw massive surges in traffic, up 9,141% and 506% respectively.
Okinawa over 9,000%.
Can you
Wow.
believe
I
it?
thought
Yeah.
that was a typo. Ooh, okay. So tell us more.
And Muan Airport has been closed due to the tragic accident, and that is believed to have some effects on this spike, pushing more travelers to use Kimhae Airport. And with its strong performance in both traditional and leisure destinations,
Sure.
Kimhae is definitely becoming a key gateway for international travel from Korea's southern region.
Oh, yes, indeed. Such an important airport, and it's kind of like overflowing, right? So thank you for all the updates on that. Next, let's talk about Busan, which is going to launch this Zero Disposable Festival initiative with reusable container funding. So we need more information on this.
Yes. When I saw the article, I was happy to hear about this initiative. The city is launching this initiative to reduce, to cut down on disposable items and make local festivals as eco-friendly and zero disposable events.
Okay.
As part of this plan, the city is accepting applications from district offices, gu and gun, until April 14th. Selected applicants will receive funding to introduce and promote the use of reusable containers at festivals. And the support includes covering costs related to implementing reusable container systems at festival sites and offering incentives to citizens who use personal tumblers or other reusable items. And the first festival to adopt this initiative will be the Busan Wheat Festival at Hwamyeong Ecological Park in Bukgu District in early May. And it will showcase a variety of wheat-based dishes. But the festival traditionally generated a high volume of disposable waste. So the introduction of reusable containers is expected to significantly reduce that.
I think think this is a great idea. Hopefully, all festivals will go down this route as well. Next up, let's talk about our city, Busan, launching this Foreign Resident Connector program. And this is to boost community involvement, right?
Yes. So the city and the Busan Global City Foundation are implementing the first ever Foreign Resident Connector program to help foreign residents share their real-life experiences and ideas to make the city more livable and inclusive.
So what will these connectors, that's what we're calling them, right?
Yeah.
What are they going to be doing for the program?
So the program invites foreigners living in Busan to get involved in their local districts, sharing daily challenges, suggesting ways to improve local policies, and helping create helpful content like hotspot guides, local tips, and food recommendations. And participants will also take part in community activities and receive training to build their skills. And the Connector program replaces the older, more formal Foreign Resident Representatives Council and focuses more on hands-on involvement rather than just meetings and feedback.
Yes. So this will get the involvement, hopefully increase. So what do connectors, I don't want to say get, but do they get anything in return, or is it just voluntary?
Yes, both. They will get a small activity allowance and recognition of volunteer hours and rewards based on performance.
Sure.
And besides, all activities and content will be compiled and published as part of a guide for foreign residents living and traveling in Busan. So they will get a chance to be featured on the Life in Busan website. Anyone over 18 who has lived in Korea for at least a year or in Busan for more than 90 days can apply for the program. And for more details, please check out the Busan Global City Foundation website.
All right. Thanks for that information. All right. The last issue we're going to talk about are shade tents, which a lot of people tend to use during summer, right? But now they're not going to be allowed throughout Busan Citizen Park, right?
Yes. So the Busan Facilities Corporation announced that starting April 12th, visitors can find their relaxation spots and set up their shade tents across the entire park. So this includes Hiraria Square. Hiraria. Thank you. Which was off limits last year.
Okay.
But there are some rules. So only tents that are smaller than 2.5 meters wide and 3 meters long are allowed, and big enough to have up to 4 people. And tents can be used from sunrise to sunset. And while in use, at least 2 sides must remain open. And no ropes, pegs, poles, or other anchoring devices are allowed for setup.
Right. So I apologize. They are now allowed, not allowed. 된대요. So what else should we know about the new tent policy?
So smoking, drinking, loud noise, cooking, and the use of open flames.
Please no.
Yes, that's a
Right.
big no-no. It's prohibited in the park, and violating these rules may result in the immediate removal of your tent on site.
Yes. So once again, they are now allowed. But of course, as Sue just gave you the guidelines, you got to follow the rules, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for all the Busan updates, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right. And listeners, here is your traffic and weather coming up. Let's check out the road conditions right now. It looks congested on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyang ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. There's also traffic building on Manduk-daero from Manduk intersection to the Manduk Cathedral. Likewise, looking slow on Luno Samsung-daero from Myeongji underpass to Shinho Bridge. And lastly, it's backed up on Gwanmun-daero right now from Pangnam Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. As for the weather, it's currently 12 degrees Celsius here in Busan under clear skies. It's going to warm up to 22 degrees during the day, a little warmer than yesterday. Across the nation, cloudy. However, will clear up by daytime. Rain forecast for parts of Gangwon, Chungbuk, Ulsan, and Gyeongsang areas. Seoul and Incheon are seeing bad fine dust levels right now. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for News Digest. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if I should ask you the whole financial support thing.
Did you see my dad drop me off in the morning? I saw your car pull into the
I was
parking lot as
waiting.
my dad was pulling out. So I was like, well, there's my answer.
Yes. And I saw him yesterday too. That was your dad,
on
right?
my way out. Yes,
I
yes,
get
yes.
kusipto
She
인사.
did. She did. And I was like, guys, please settle down.
Yes, yes. Well, what are your thoughts? Let's get your thoughts.
Well, I mean, because there's a difference between having to and choosing to. And I like to think my family is choosing to. So,
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my
I'm just
mom's
kidding.
like, do you want to get your own place? And I'm like, no.
No,
Like, why?
just no.
Like, what makes you think I would? Like, mom.
Well, like, what are the
look
benefits?
at my life. Like, look at how great it is right now. Why would I?
Look at this mess.
Yeah, mom. Look at this mess you have to clean up. Like,
Right,
why?
right,
So,
right.
well, but financially though, I mean, I was definitely more independent during college than I am now
Okay.
because in the true American fashion, I moved out. Yes, I moved out, and my
Yes.
parents paid for tuition, which, of course, it is a luxury. It's eternally
Right,
grateful
right.
because my peers, my friends couldn't think of the word friends. They're still in debt from
Student loans. Right.
and interest. And we graduated
Years ago.
many years ago, about a decade ago, and then
Yes.
some. So yeah, definitely. But I did work my way through college. So in terms of living costs, rent, utilities, all that, I did pay for myself. Yeah.
Right. So, like, even for me, I'm kind of divided because, like, the Western side of me is kind of like, oh, you're 18, you need to be
Right.
financially
Out of there.
independent. But then, we're living in Korea. So I told, my older kids basically, tuition, I'll cover, but, try to get a job.
Right.
But then, 1번 has been pretty successful in that, like, he pays for his own tuition.
Oh yeah. Oh
착하는
wow. Well
보자.
done, number one.
Well, partial scholarship, and then starting this semester, he's like, "Mom, I got it." I was like, "Really? Are you sure?" Yeah. So 너무 예뻐요. 예쁜 아들. 네, 알아서 다 하고 용돈도 안 준지 since
Wow.
like 3 years ago. He pays for his own phone bill. He pays for all his meals. Doesn't use dad's credit card. So I'm safe.
nice.
그냥 그렇다는 거예요. 둘째 듣고 있지? 네. 자, 최희숙님 sent us a message, so I'm going to read that one right now, saying this. I think financial support is until their studies, and emotional support is until they get married. But in reality, different story. I mean, the whole emotional support, it's like, really? Like, until
Until yeah. Whenever
somebody
something
passes
happens
away,
at work,
right?
I come in, mom, guess what she said? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, anyhow, let's dive into news.
We got news.
We have stuff to talk about. All right. So, top story today: Trump's tariffs. I mean, every day there's something else, and it paused. Right. I just said during the news after days of the U.S. president saying he wouldn't back down, but now he has.
He has.
Yes.
So every morning, it's a new world. So Trump did back down after market volatility, days of market volatility,
Yes.
and recession warnings even. However, kind of channeled all that, shall we say, fury to China. So the reciprocal tariffs went into, these are 상호관세, they did go into effect
Yes.
on Wednesday, a minute past midnight on Wednesday local time. That included a 25% tariff on Korean goods.
Yes.
However, on the same day, President Donald Trump suddenly unveiled a 90-day pause for most countries. So the countries will only face a blanket 10% tariff until July.
Yes. Do we know why though?
I have a direct quote from Trump.
Okay.
People were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippee.
Yippee.
Is an interesting way, again, from a U.S. president to describe allies.
Yes.
So he stated that over 75 countries have come to or contacted the U.S. federal government to try to negotiate. This was via social media. And then he also told reporters just a couple hours ago, in terms of these negotiations, things that pertain to South Korea. Defense cost sharing, 방위비 분담. This issue could factor into the tariffs, and saying that the U.S. is not getting reimbursed for troops they've stationed in Europe, but also South Korea.
Yes.
And while, of course, defense costs are not linked to trade, however, Trump said the U.S. will make it a part of the trade negotiations, saying that this is, at least in his opinion, a reasonable way to approach the subject.
I see. However, there's a big but. China, that's a whole different story.
Right. So it is a game of chicken, definitely between the two economic superpowers. But given the scale of their economies,
Yes.
everyone else may get affected.
Okay.
In any case, China increased tariffs on U.S. goods earlier from 34% to 84%, and also called Trump's decision to escalate the trade war a mistake on top of a mistake. Well, then this prompted Trump to raise levies even further. It was 104% yesterday when we covered the story. Now it's 125. So there is no roof. You think 100% is the roof? Think
Apparently
again.
not.
So Trump actually seems confident that China will actually budge first, saying that China wants to make a deal, they just don't know how to go about it. And he stated it's one of those things, and he called the Chinese people quite proud people, saying that he knows Chinese President Xi Jinping very well and further called him a very proud man, but ultimately they'll figure it out. By the way, let's go into the rhetoric of
Okay.
it now, because this quite proud people, kind of a blanket generalization. It is, however, let's say a generous and / more polite one compared to what his vice president said about China.
Yes, yes. And so this is a whole other comment that sparked a reaction from Beijing. So let's get into the details of this.
Right. So this was in an interview with Fox News. J.D. Vance, the U.S. vice president, he was criticizing, the globalist economy and how that's hurt the U.S. That the U.S. has incurred huge amounts of debt to pay for things that other countries produce. And his example, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy things those Chinese peasants manufacture. Peasants farm, they don't manufacture.
Yes.
So in Korean, of course, peasant is 농부, but the connotation was more of like 촌놈.
사람.
Yeah,
Yeah.
촌사람. So the Chinese Foreign Ministry issued a statement saying it's both astonishing and lamentable to hear the vice president make such ignorant and disrespectful remarks. And Chinese netizens have kind of gone about it in like a humble brag. Yes, we peasants have the world's best high-speed rail system, the most powerful logistics capabilities, leading AI autonomous driving. The peasants are quite impressive. Yeah, so, you know.
Comments here and there. Yes. Well, that's where we are on the tariffs, right? And comments thereafter involving everything. We're going to now dive into one of the most contentious issues in domestic area. Acting President Han Duck-soo nominating 2 Constitutional Court justices. So we are in uncharted territory right now. Let's talk about the legality of this.
Right. So acting President Han Duck-soo earlier appointed the final justice, 9th justice to the Constitutional Court, Ma Eun-hyuk, and then named 2 nominees, Lee Won-gyu and Ham Sang-un, and they would fill the spots left empty by 2 outgoing justices, their terms, and they will retire. So this is a really fast turnaround because the whole thing was that Han was impeached by the National Assembly because he had refused to appoint Ma Eun-hyuk.
Right.
Until the ruling, and his position was that the ruling and opposition parties need to reach a consensus before he, as acting president, can appoint the final justice.
So the big question is this. Why did Han Duck-soo all of a sudden appoint Ma Eun-hyuk along with the 2 other nominees?
So what's changed? The political situation, and at least in his eyes, the status of the acting president. So back then, when he refused to appoint the justice, according to Han, the president's duties were suspended, 직무 정지, but now with Yoon being the former president removed from office, it is now vacant, 과리. So under Article 71 of the Constitution, if the president's office is vacant from removal or any accident, then the acting president takes over the duties.
Right.
So Han Duck-soo seems to have judged that now he can exercise the appointment rights because he's not just kind of subbing for a temporarily suspended position. He is now filling a vacant position.
I see.
So especially because the retirement of the 2 justices, Moon Young-bae and Lee Mi-sun, would bring the court down to 7 justices, and there are major cases on the docket. So will they be able to rule with just a bench of 7? So these positions are seats, by the way, allotted to the president's authority in South Korea's constitutional court. The appointments are divided up to the president, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, and the National Assembly.
Yes, yes. However, that's one side. There are other opinions to the contrary.
Right, and these opinions are coming from constitutional jurists. They say that this is not only unconstitutional, but an insult to the Constitution.
Right.
So one society of these jurists, 헌정 회복을 위한 헌법학자회의, issued a statement yesterday saying that the president, referring to Yoon, was removed from the office from acting in an unconstitutional way. Then his acting president, Han Duck-soo, should minimize his authority and exercise it for a bare minimum purpose.
I see.
And the Constitutional Court has also previously ruled that the president and the acting president have clear differences in their authorities. It's also against precedents because if we look at a similar situation back in 2017 when former President Park Geun-hye was ousted, Hwang Kyo-ahn was the acting president. Hwang did not nominate justices to fill vacancies when there were vacancies.
Okay.
In terms of the nominees, Lee Wan-gyu said it is his duty to follow the acting president's decision. So basically, he will move on with the appointment, although Judge Ham Sang-un declined to comment.
I see. So that's where we are on that front. Now we're going to move on to another topic. The construction industry has been hit so hard recently with the current economic situation, and the effects are even more severe in the non-capital areas, which obviously includes Busan as well.
Right, and we're going to talk about Busan in a bit, but first let's look at Chungbuk because the top construction company in Chungbuk, which is Daeheung Construction, is preparing for a court rehabilitation, 기업 회생 절차 from funding problems.
Yes.
So this is a major regional construction company having recorded 300 billion won in its constructions.
Yes.
Made it into the top 100 construction companies for capacity for the first time last year. However, Daeheung now joins 9 other construction companies that have
Yes.
filed for corporate rehabilitation this year alone, or only in April.
That's true. And that's just a sign of the times. Actually, there have been similar problems in Busan, our city as well, that may pose problems for even public works projects, right?
Right. So we usually talk about construction demand being very low for private apartments, but public works are supposed to be fairly stable.
Yes.
So now we're talking about Shintaeyang Construction, which filed for rehabilitation last November. This local firm was also the contractor or 시공사 for Seogu District's road construction project. They are kind of bridging these two big hills or roads by building a spiral ramp that connects Mangyangro and Podong길 near Busan Tunnel. So because the contractor is now in corporate workout, the district terminated the contract before the rehabilitation started. But that construction for the ramp, only 0.5% complete. So you can say it's barely started.
Yes, yes.
So the district has set off to find a new contractor just last month. So after months, but that means the construction will be delayed by at least 1 year.
Yes.
Another problem with the local library project in Amidong, this project, at least it's near 70% or at least over 70% completed. However, this will lead to a 9-month delay. And here's the problem with delays. Costs keep going up. So at least for this 9-month delay, 600 million won of taxpayer funding, 6억 won, has been added to the bill.
Yes, yes.
So there's criticism then. Were the administrative procedures late? Did the district office not stay on top of things? Because industry insiders say before companies file for workout or rehabilitation,
Yes.
if there are dire difficulties, you start to notice the signs a couple months in advance, at least on the scene.
Yes.
So the district office said that it admitted to not taking preemptive measures and action, but said it is trying to and has tried to resolve the situation as quickly as possible after realizing this problem.
Ah, yes, yes. So unfortunately, that is the situation with local firms and, of course, across the nation as well. Thank you for going over all the news, and we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. So let's get to you, the listeners out there. We're going to talk about our text topic, your responses. So we have a couple of responses, very interesting. First up, we have Drift Monkey, who says that, you know what? As soon as he turned 18, the minute he turned 18, he had to start contributing monetarily to the household. 오, 18세 되자마자는 이제 그 가정에 돈을 조금 보태는 그런 가족의 분위기인가 봐요. Also with 태진, he says this. 대학 공부 마칠 때까지는 경제적 지원해 줘야 할 것 같아요. 용돈은 아르바이트 할 거고 혹시 취업 못하면 그때도 지원해 줄 것 같아요. So, I think this is kind of might be a common sentiment among parents. Like, up through college, if they obviously choose to do so, that they will be financially supported. And he's like, hopefully with their spending money, they'll, get a part-time job. But in terms of even getting employed, that's also a factor too. And if they can't be employed or, they're having difficulty finding a job, then he's probably going to end up supporting them as well. We have a message from Leslie. Hi, Leslie. How are you? So parents should emotionally support their children their entire lives. Financially, I feel like 25 is a good number. You get them through college and into their first job, but still have means to be able to help on occasion if needed after that. So yes, definitely. That's a good age, 25, right? So 25 means assuming you went to college right after, high school, at least in the States, you're, probably graduated by then. In Korea, maybe not so. If you're going to the military, 군대가 또 오고 하면 또 그게 좀 다를 수 있어요. 25살이라는 게. All right, I will read more of your messages, but first, let's get to Cat's Pick for today. For today's Cat's Pick, I saw this story, and sometimes you just go, why? Why would you do this? Well, Indian police, country India, have arrested a 24-year-old American YouTuber who visited an off-limits island in the Indian Ocean. And what did he leave behind? Why did he get arrested? He left behind a can of diet soda and a coconut in an attempt to make contact with the isolated tribe. Here is an explanation from ABC News and then 10 News First.
New details are emerging about the final days of John Chow, the American missionary believed to have been killed by an endangered tribe on a remote island in the Indian Ocean. In a journal given to the Washington Post by his mother, the 26-year-old who traveled the world preaching Christianity and documenting his travels on Instagram wrote about illegally making contact with the Sentinelese island. Those fishermen were arrested for helping Chow get to the island. Contact with the tribe is illegal. Even after the 2004 tsunami, a member of the tribe was photographed on the beach firing arrows at a helicopter sent to check on their well-being.
An American YouTuber has been arrested after breaching an exclusion zone to try to leave a can of Diet Coke as a gift for the world's most isolated tribe. Mikhailo Polakov posted videos of his travels to dangerous parts of the world, but his latest move has seen him branded idiotic and reckless. After posting this to his fans, Polakov travelled for 9 hours to reach North Sentinel Island, which sits between India and Myanmar. It is home to one of the world's last uncontacted tribes, about 150 people all but cut off from the outside world. The last person to try to make contact, an American Christian missionary, was killed. Luckily for the YouTuber, his attempts to coax the tribe out with a whistle didn't work, and he left with only a video of his antics, which is now in the hands of police. Experts point out the thrill seeker could have killed the entire tribe by introducing disease.
So the reason why I played two clips, the first clip was from several years ago where a missionary actually died trying to get in contact with the most remote island, the isolated tribe on Earth. And then this guy, he's just a YouTuber for likes, for views. I don't know. He went there and he did this. I just don't understand. And you heard the adjectives, right? Idiotic, not mine, but definitely a lot of people think he may have been. This was Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
it's time for Chris for Beyond the Headlines. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Music always gets me going in the
Yeah,
morning.
definitely. Hey, so text topic. We're talking about up to what age do you think parents should, your opinion, support their child? Like, in theory.
In theory, I think...
Like financially and emotionally. You can do it separate or it can be the same age.
Yeah,
but-
I'll start with the easy one. I
Okay.
think emotionally should be forever.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's the opposite as well. That the children should also support their parents emotionally.
Oh,
Like
good
it's
one.
mutual support.
Good point.
Financially, that's a tough one. I would go with until the person is able to hold themselves up on their own.
On their own.
Which is in this economy, is can be a bit tricky.
That's true, though.
So
yeah,
like you don't want go out at like 18 and fail. And the same thing, like if you can support yourself at 25 or 30, before then, you should be supported until then. Until you can get a job and support yourself.
Absolutely. And so, one of my kids, he wanted to say, he's like, is it okay if I move out? And I was just like, why would you want to? So I made a list of, because he was asking, he's like, what are the monthly things that I need to know? So I made him a list, and he's like, he's like, I'm going to wait. I was like, yeah, do so. Because, when you can
there's so
live
much
with
that
the parents,
you don't know about until you're
Exactly. So, well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on our text topic. We're going to dive into your segment, though. What do you have for us?
Yeah, it's I realized today that there are 2 weeks left. I've been really enjoying life and realized as I was walking to class with a flurry of cherry leaves that midterms are soon, about 2 weeks now.
Yes.
So in honor of all of our students who are studying so hard, let's take this morning to play a little game, a
game.
word association game.
Okay.
I'll give you a list of words and you tell me how they're connected. And we can, and the listeners at home can play along too.
So let me explain.
Yeah.
So for our waivers, 크리스님이 he's going to read out some words. 단어들을 지금 불러줄 건데 이게 어떻게 연결되는 건지 우리 한번 해볼까요? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll see if anybody leaves a comment on the Kakao Talk or YouTube page. We'll shout out their genius if they can get it before you do.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm so okay.
All right, are you
Pressure.
ready?
Okay. I'm not. Okay. I'm not going to even look at the script.
So the words are orange, sunflowers, cable tie, soup, soccer, glue, paint, Stonehenge,
Oh my gosh.
Taylor Swift, Shakespeare, and snooker.
Are you sure they're tied in? Are you someone, somebody texted in, 아무 말 막 하는 거 아닌데요? 아닌가요?
It does sound like they're unconnected, but
They're connected,
They
you
are
sure?
connected, yes.
What is? I have no idea.
All right. This is, there's an organization called Just Stop Oil, and they have used all of these things in their protests.
Oh, in protesting.
Yes. Now, the group has recently announced that it will no longer be active and will disband at the end of April because it claims that its demands have been met by government policy.
Oh, really? Well, first of all, we need to know more about this organization. You called it Just Stop Oil?
Yes.
Yes.
Just Stop Oil is a British environmental activist group that has been
Yes.
focused on the issue of human-caused climate change. Their stated goal is to force the British government to commit to ending new fossil fuel licensing. The group was formed in 2022 and became infamous for its, let's call it unique and sometimes illegal methods of activism.
I see.
The group says that it's a decentralized, non-hierarchical group with various activists operating independently, but also sharing resources and while having no formal leadership. They say they do favor nonviolent actions and the civil resistance and have been known for general social disruption favoring cultural institutions.
Well, now that you have told us what this group is about, I think I've heard about some of their activism or antics, shall we say so. Can you tell us about what kinds of things that they have done? Maybe go through some of that, the words on that list.
They've done a lot. So a lot of the words I mentioned have to do with what they did. And the group is known for their orange logo and color theme.
Yes.
So a lot of their protests involved making things orange. Among their first protests was attending a BAFTA Awards and sitting in the red carpet wearing Just Stop Oil T-shirts and disrupting the 75th BAFTA Awards. They cable-tied a group member to a goalpost during a Liverpool football match. They sabotaged petrol pumps on the M25 motorway. And among their more publicized protests, they painted Stonehenge orange in 2024. They broke into an airport and painted private planes, hoping to get singer Taylor Swift's, but they missed it. They couldn't find it. They disrupted a snooker game with a man crawling on the table. A snooker, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like billiards, and throwing orange powder everywhere. And perhaps the most infamous, they threw tomato soup on the fourth version of Vincent van Gogh's Errol's Sunflower at the National Gallery. And they actually did it twice.
So now I'm like, it's coming back to me. Stonehenge, I remember, and definitely the Van Gogh, yes. A lot of things. So let's focus on one particular one, the Sunflowers protest. I mean, what did they do exactly? I mean, are these protests effective? Have they been?
Yeah, the second sunflower protest happened in October of 2022. Two protesters opened a can of tomato soup and doused it over the painting before removing their jackets and showing their Just Stop Oil T-shirts.
Yes.
And then they glued themselves to the wall. One of them shouted, "What is worth more, art or life?" The artwork was unharmed because it was behind glass, but the frame was slightly damaged.
Right.
The room was cleared, and it made for a nice spectacle, but for the most part, the protests were ineffective. Aja Romano at Vox News pointed out that, true, millions of people were hearing about Just Stop Oil for the first time, but it was now likely in the context that reckless protesters had ruined Van Gogh's sunflowers just to make a point.
Right. And so I'm curious as to how their protests have been received and also for our waivers out there, our listeners out there, like, what do you think of these types of, some people call them performance protests, where they're trying to be splashy on purpose? Because, like, obviously everybody's going to be interested in Van Gogh, and if, like, the artwork, was it ruined, was it not, right? It does get the discussion rolling, though, right?
Well, the group has received a lot of criticism that it's ineffective because a lot of these targets just aren't connected to oil.
I see.
According to the BBC, the protest in January 27th at the West End production of Shakespeare's The Tempest, a protester fired a confetti cannon and unfurled a banner before being dragged off the stage to boos and jeers of "idiot," with one audience member shouting, "I hope you," expletive, "get arrested." It's been called a criminal cult, and its activists branded eco-loons by The Sun. Daily Mail has described it as deranged and says that the members have unleashed misery on thousands of ordinary people with their selfish antics. Now, their protests have gained a lot of publicity, but has also sparked massive opposition, probably doing more harm than good to their cause. Particularly in November of 2022, they shut down the M25 in a protest. Traffic was disrupted for over 4 days, and people ended up missing important appointments, exams, and flights. In the years since they formed, dozens of members have actually been jailed. 5 activists were jailed for 4 years for their involvement in the M25 protest, though their sentence was later reduced on appeal. But still, it's the longest jail sentence for non-violent civil disobedience.
Right. And then maybe it's not violent, but definitely disruptive. That's for sure. So question is this. You mentioned earlier that they are disbanding, meaning they're basically going their own way. But why?
According to their press release, they're disbanding because they won and that the oil companies lost.
Oh. Okay.
And in that statement, Just Stop Oil said, our initial demands to end new oil and gas is now government policy, making us the most successful civil resistance campaign in recent history. This claim is contradicted by the government of the UK, who said that while it doesn't plan to issue any new licenses for oil and gas production, its policies are not linked to Just Stop Oil.
Oh, I see.
The Prime Minister's official spokesperson told journalists, "We have been very clear when it comes to oil and gas that it has a future for decades to come in our energy mix."
So, the group saying one thing, the UK government saying another. So, what might their motive really be?
Well, in response to these kinds of protests, not just from Just Stop Oil, but from other groups as well, the UK government created new laws to punish these kinds of protests that Just Stop Oil engaged in.
Right.
The new offenses include interfering with national infrastructure like highways, locking on, which is chaining or gluing yourself to something, as well as tunneling underground. They've also marked causing a public nuisance as a potential crime, allowing police to take action against protesters who block roads. But senior members of Just Stop Oil deny that the crackdowns had anything to do on their decision to hang up their high-vis protests. Justin Rowlett, the BBC climate editor, interviewed several members of the group. He said that the wider goal of to end production of oil and gas has manifestly not been achieved. The members of the group I spoke to for this article all agree that the climate crisis has actually deepened.
Well, next question is this. Is this the end of the group? Are they really disbanding? Are we not going to see them anymore?
Well, this group, yes, but the members, no. In a statement, the group said that we're creating a new strategy to face this reality and to carry out our responsibilities at this time, suggesting that they may be planning some new form of movement or something else along those lines. Just Stop Oil said its last protest will be at the end of April and will be the end of soup on Van Gogh, cornstarch on Stonehenge, and slow marching in the streets.
I see. Well, thank you so much for bringing it, full circle to get us better acquainted with this group, what they stood for, and why they may be disbanding. So thanks for this interesting story, and we'll check in with you real soon. Thank you, Chris.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right, everybody. So now I have time to read a little bit more of your messages. We have Edom Nim, who says, I have earned money since I entered university, but I think I should support my daughter until she graduates from university. So the common thread for not all, for some of the messages is this, that maybe supporting through college or university, should they choose to go that route, is kind of the common thread. And you know what? It's very different for every single family. The family dynamics, that's one factor. Another factor, I think, cultural norms, right? A lot of people, they always ask me, is it true in the U.S. as soon as you turn 18, they kick you out of the house? And I always say that is not true. 근데 항상 물어보더라고요. 18살 되면 진짜 집 나가야 되냐? 아니요. That's a very, very kind of big stereotype. And it is not true. Not all families are built that way. All right. Well, let's get to final song for hour number 1. This is 시간아 멈춰라 by 다비치. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
그대로 멈춰라 이별이 오길 전에 그대로 멈춰라 그대가 떠날 수 없게 날 버리고 갈 수 없게 지금 이 순간부터 시간아 멈춰라
아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Did you know that an average person in South Korea uses more than 10 kilograms of disposable products a year? While convenient, it does weigh heavily on the environment as they take up to 500 years to break down. Here is how we can cut down on disposable products. First, use tumblers and mugs instead of plastic or paper cups. When you go grocery shopping, bring a reusable bag so you won't have to ask for a plastic one. At home, instead of reaching for single-use paper towels or wet wipes, use rags and towels. These small steps for the environment can have a big impact on planet Earth. This campaign was brought to you by BeFM Busan 영어방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도, 문구점 김 사장님도, 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It's 8 o'clock. It's time for news highlights. Trump pauses reciprocal tariffs on most countries except China. U.S. President Donald Trump paused plans to hike tariffs on most countries except China, unveiling a 90-day pause and pulling back from his global trade war after days of market turmoil and warnings of recession. Trump announced that all countries that had not retaliated against U.S. tariffs would receive a reprieve and only face a blanket U.S. tariff of 10% until July. However, Trump said he will raise U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods to 125%, effective immediately. This came as Beijing is preparing to impose 84% tariffs on U.S. products. U.S. stocks skyrocket after Trump signals shift in trade policy. U.S. markets soared after Trump announced a 90-day pause on higher reciprocal tariffs for most countries, as investors dove in at first sign of eased trade policy. At the close of market on Wednesday local time, the S&P 500 index closed up 9.5%, the Dow Jones surged 7.8%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq jumped 12.1%. This follows a rocky day in the Asian markets, with South Korea's Kospi closing at a 1.7% decline, heading into bear market territory. Japan's Nikkei index closed down 4%, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng finished marginally higher after a tumble on Monday. DP chair Lee Jae-myung steps down to run for president. Democratic Party or DP leader Lee Jae-myung stepped down from the party chairmanship yesterday to run for president in the June 3rd election, with an official declaration to come today. He will release a 10-minute video this morning at 10 a.m., then hold a press conference at the National Assembly tomorrow to present his vision and announce members of his election campaign. He is considered the frontrunner in the upcoming presidential election, although he still faces ongoing court cases, including a land development scandal in Seongnam. An appellate court recently acquitted Lee of an election law violation. PPP to pick presidential candidate by May 3rd. The People Power Party, or PPP, announced yesterday it will hold a party convention on May 3rd to finalize its candidate for the June 3rd presidential election. PPP spokesperson said that the party has introduced a new rule to ensure more fairness in polls during the primary, given the recent scandal surrounding pollster Byung Tae-gyun and the election meddling scandal surrounding the former president. The race has already begun for the ruling party as former Labor Minister Kim Moon-soo officially announced his bid yesterday, and Seoul Mayor Oh Se-hoon will declare his campaign on Sunday. Constitutional Court Justice Ma Eun-hyuk begins term. Justice Ma Eun-hyuk began his term on the Constitutional Court yesterday, vowing to uphold constitutional principles while dismissing concerns raised by the conservative bloc about his ideological bias. Ma made the remarks during his inauguration ceremony, recognizing concerns from society. He vowed to take on his duties with a balanced view and impartial attitude, adding he would respect but not blindly obey the majority opinion, and listen but not lean toward the voices of the minority. The newest justice's appointment came after months of delay from acting President Han Duck-soo, who also nominated successors to two retiring justices, inciting criticism that he overstepped his authorities as acting president. This was News Highlights. It's time for Wagga Wagga. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Yes, yes. So we're going to dive into our first story. You know, we have been seeing record levels of donations for the wildfires. We talked about this, right? And while the vast majority of this is out of the goodness of people's hearts, some people are not doing so. They're dumping trash.
They are literally dumping their trash. So people, when these disasters happen, they send money, but also things. I've definitely sent like wet wipes and things like that to a disaster site, clothes, food, because, you know, they are in need. However, some of them are unusable things, downright trash in some cases. We're talking about clothes that have been so worn out, they're pilling, dusty bedding, dirty kitchenware, things like heat resistant pans, like the coated pans with the coating that has come off, which, by the way, is actually bad for your health.
Right.
Cheongseong County, for example, has 11 tons of things that are donated but are unusable.
11 tons?
It's not out of 11 tons of donations. Some are unusable. It is
trash
out of it, 11 tons are unusable things.
Wow.
You can see the ladle that has things, grime onto it.
Why would you donate that?
Which is so horrible. I mean,
and especially to these victims?
Exactly, exactly. And on top of things, it's how they're sending the packages as well. 착불. Which is, by the way, of course, non-Korean listeners, this is where the receiver has to pay.
Yes, so you call it COD, cash on demand.
There we go. One charity says they've had to, this is one charity, they've had to pay 700,000 won, 70만 원 in the shipping fees alone.
Oh my goodness.
So this isn't new, unfortunately. During the East Coast fire, the Donghae fire of 2019, 30 out of 53 tons of old clothing donated were actually unusable.
They had to be
thrown out. And that costs money, by the way. So you are doing a great disservice to the people, the charities. I mean, what are you doing?
I mean, that's why people reiterate, they emphasize gently used items or new items, right? But not like what we saw or hear about. Oh, terrible. Up next, let's talk about this. Parents are responsible for their children's well-being, safety, and other aspects of their life. So this is directly related to our text topic. But to what extent?
Right. So I have answers for you. Not like solutions, answers. It's the right answer, but this is what people think in South Korea.
Yes.
So 2 out of 3 parents in South Korea think their children's successes and failures are their responsibility.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a little...
It's like, are you the 2 out of 3 or are you the 1?
I mean... I'm a little...
Right.
Two
It's
out of 3 people think
flabbergasting.
that?
Yeah. So
Oh.
this is according to a survey by the Korean Institute for Health and Social Welfare. They surveyed 1,600 people. And these are parents who have adult children between the ages of 19 and 34. So
Right.
pretty much my parents and
Wow.
maybe you. 66.9% said they agreed parents have responsibility for their children's successes and failures. And keep in mind, it's not the responsibility. It's not sole responsibility. It's just
a part of it,
some.
at least.
자녀의 성공과 실패에 대해 부모의 책임이 있다가 거의 67%였습니다. Interestingly, fathers felt this kind of a burden more than mothers, about a 3-point difference.
Okay.
And then this was heaviest in the 55 to 59 age group and those who have graduated from universities, and also a tendency to think this way from the more economically well-off parents. So the research team analyzed that these patterns are interesting, that there's a sense of responsibility that doesn't only stem from the moral reasons, but the patterns show an admission that parents' rearing and support affect their children's successes. And while it is interesting that most parents agree that it was ideal to have an independent relationship with their adult children.
Yes.
But they also saw financial support as necessary. It's like
Really?
경제적인 독립이 되면 좋겠지만 that'd be nice if your adult child was economically independent. But if necessary, yes, we'll pay.
In what aspects though? I want details.
Right, because I mean, is it rent? Is it tuition?
Right.
Is it, can I just willy-nilly use your credit card for everything? So most parents thought, well, education, college tuition, we'll pay. We have to pay. We should pay. That was 84%.
Okay.
70%, weddings and marriage.
Oh, really?
결혼자금. And 결혼자금 here usually includes like housing.
Right.
Right.
Their first house.
Right.
Apartment. Yeah.
63% thought parents should cover living costs, 생활비, until their children found a job. And then 67% thought they should help out with home buying as well. And 40% said, as long as we're able to, we should help out. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
and I think always the key is this. If you're able to,
if
every
you're able
household
to, of
is
course.
different.
Yes,
right?
yes. Well, I want to know what adult children thought or are thinking.
Right. So mostly in line similar, especially when it came to college tuition.
Okay.
So about 70% of adult children thought parents should, if they're able to, pay with college tuition. And keep in mind for our non-Korean listeners, 4-year universities in most households and even in
Yes.
most schools are considered kind of almost mandatory. Like they're
Right.
not legally mandatory, but you know.
Yeah.
62% of adult children said until they were economically independent, they would like to get help. And 56% said it is ideal for parents to help out with their wedding costs, and even 45% with their home purchases.
Oh, but it's interesting, like the first items, they were kind of similar. And then when it came to like wedding costs and home purchases, like the parents felt more of a,
a responsibility.
And
But then the
kids,
children,
maybe
at
not
least
so
they don't
much.
think it's a given. I mean, it'd be nice,
It'd be
but
nice,
they
of
say
course.
we're not demanding
yes. Well, very interesting to get into the minds of, the people who were surveyed.
Right.
And now we're going to move on to Trump's reciprocal tariffs, which are now in effect.
Well, partially.
Partially.
Yeah.
Because we just had, breaking news, since last night saying there would be a brief pause, a 90-day pause. So this is so controversial, even divisive for members within his administration. So much so, there is a very ugly public spat going on between Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, versus another advisor, Elon Musk, right?
Right. So it is not death match, but a match between Peter Navarro
But I
and
seriously
Elon
want to say
Musk.
ding, ding, ding. I feel like it's
I feel like I should have a number sign and we should be walking around the studio. And
Yes,
by the way,
round
for
one.
English learners,
Yes.
not that I encourage you to call people this, but
Yes.
if you're looking for insults in English, I have them for you. So
we go.
in an interview, Peter Navarro, who is Trump's trade advisor, he was talking about how he wanted to see auto parts made in the United States.
Okay.
And then he criticized Elon Musk, who of course owns Tesla, saying that Musk is not a car manufacturer, he's a car assembler.
Oh, round
So
one.
제조사가 아니라 조립 자다. So it's a bit of a shade.
Okay.
And by the way, this is a reflection of President Trump's position to revive manufacturing in the U.S.
However, I mean, I'm sure Musk, there you go, the face-off, did not take this too kindly.
No,
He was not happy.
and Musk is also quite vocal about his opinion.
Yes.
And he stated, well, number one, that they were demonstrably false, meaning obviously, clearly false. And then he went further. This is when the colorful insults come in.
Okay.
Navarro is, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks.
So what does that mean?
It's like, I mean, in Korean, like
to describe.
literally, it's like 벽돌 한 무더기보다 멍청하다. So it's like, and bricks are not, they are obviously inanimate, brainless. So it's an expression.
What else did he say?
Well, and then he called Navarro a moron, which is like the nicest way is 멍청이, but it's actually more serious than 멍청이. So don't like jokingly call your sister, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Well, and then he also had evidence to back this up. He posted a link, Musk posted a link from the 2023 car valuation firm Kelley Blue Book. It cited findings that Tesla vehicles had the most parts produced in the U.S. So he felt he was being very unfairly served in the comments.
He brought receipts.
He did bring receipts. By the way, though, this is the most public sign of disagreement between Trump's trade team and Musk.
Right.
And also it points to kind of the dissatisfaction that a lot of tech CEOs and a lot of corporations are feeling about Trump's policy.
Okay.
So I'm going to cite Dean and Professor at Yale School of Management, Jeffrey Sonfeld, who hosted a gathering of business executives in Washington, D.C. last month.
Okay.
He said that Musk was articulating what many American CEOs told him but are reluctant to say publicly to Trump directly, lest they fear any ramifications.
Yes.
This professor said 79% of business executives said they're embarrassed in front of their international partners. 89% said that this is needlessly taking the states into a recession and misguided economic policy. I mean, of course, we have seen these fallouts until today when stocks certainly rebounded.
Yes.
However, they were unhappy because a lot of these CEOs are those who donated massive amounts of money to Trump's his inauguration and even prior to that, his campaign.
Right. So there you have it. At least one very public,
spat.
Yeah, ugly. And on a positive note, like we try to do, with the record popularity of baseball, KBO, Korean Baseball Organization tickets, they're a hot commodity, but there are some people voluntarily giving up their tickets? Why?
Yeah, right. So, it's when something ticketing is so fierce, we call it picketing, like pee, like blood, like it is a bloodbath. It's going on for fans to get the seats. However, with the bulk, if not all of the tickets being sold online, it's really hard if you don't have the internet access, digital ability, even thumb strength. I don't know. You just gotta click on it. Enter people who will do that for free. Who are now giving up their tickets. So one user on the Hanwha Eagles fan site, the post said, I got tickets. And you're like, well, good for you. And then you read on. He or she is a season ticket holder. So they have tickets. Yeah. They didn't need to go buy extra, but they went and did it anyways.
Okay.
Why? Because now with those new tickets, they're going to go to the game, kind of hang around in front of the stadium, and give the tickets to especially seniors who are unable to buy them online.
It's so difficult.
I love this.
Even as a non-senior, when you're like in a rush,
yeah,
and you're trying to, your thumbs are not cooperating,
right?
Or your fingers, right?
And I mean, I've been in virtual line for, I don't know, my sister's favorite band. I forget, but I was like the 40,000th person, and I'm like, well. So I tried. So same on the Samsung Lions site. A person who bought multiple tickets saying that they'll just kind of hang out, linger around the ticket booth like a ticket scalper, like 안표상, but for
not
free.
That,
so this is clearly illegal. And then there are posts on Tangun as well, explicitly say that they want to give their tickets to senior citizens. So fans, I mean, I love that individuals are stepping up, but also, can we do better as teams, as like they have a better system so people are not excluded. So fans have been calling on the sales ticket sites and the teams for tickets to be sold to seniors exclusively or people who are in the digitally vulnerable groups.
Yes.
So they want a baseball culture that doesn't exclude anyone, that is inclusive. Actually, Busan's, our own Lotte Giants, are doing a great job of this because they became the first team last year to set aside a certain number of tickets to be sold on site on the day of the game.
Right.
That started as I believe 70 last year. It's been so popular. They've expanded it to 220 this year. Super popular among senior fans. Some fans as old as 90 years old.
Oh.
I mean, baseball is a classic sport, right?
Yeah.
So these are available for seniors who are 65 or older from the ticket booths. They must show proof of ID. So yeah, this is a great culture that I would really like to see expand.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for ending it on a heartwarming story. And we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right. Now it's back to you, the listeners, for our updated traffic report. It is now 8:19. Here's your traffic report. There's an accident to report on the Jungang Expressway right at the Daedong juncture going toward Kimhae. A 1 kilometer long backup is occurring as a result. So please be aware of this area. Congested on the Gwangan Bridge on the top portion going towards Namcheon-dong. Traffic building on Mandokdaero from Sukdung intersection to Deokcheon intersection. It's also looking slow on Chungnyeoldaero from Binam to Daesung intersection. Backed up also on Gwanmundaero from Pangnam Tunnel to Baekyang Tunnel. Currently, it is 14 degrees already here in Busan under clear skies. It's going to go up to 22 today. Across the nation, however, cloudy right now maybe, but it's due to clear up by daytime. However, rain is forecast for parts of Gangwon, Chungbuk, Ulsan, and Gyeongsang areas. Seoul and Incheon are seeing bad fine dust levels right now. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Auden by Sandhya by as requested by Betty.
고단한 하루 끝에 돌고는 눈물 난 어디를 향해 가는 걸까 아플 만큼 아팠다 생각했는데 아직도 한참 남은 건가 봐 이 넓은 세상에 혼자인 것처럼 아무도 내 맘을 보려 하지 않고 아무도 눈을 감아보면 내게 보이는 내 모습 지치지 말고 잠시 멈추라고 깨끗하지 않던 짙은 나의 어둠에 나를 버리면 모두 갤 거라고 웃는 사람들 틈에 이방인처럼 혼자만 모든 걸 잃은 표정 정신없이 한참을 뛰었던 걸까 이제는 너무 멀어진 꿈들 이 오랜 슬픔이 그치기는
Welcome back, everybody. For our text topic, we've been talking about until what age parents should financially or emotionally support their children. And of course, for every family, it's a different situation economically and culturally. It might be different according to wherever you're from and just your personal beliefs as well. That's going to maybe dictate how things are done in your family or your household. So we have a message from 고수 who says, 저는 아이가 20살이 되면 스스로 돈 벌고 스스로 해결할 수 있게 키울 생각입니다. 다 지원해주고 싶지만 스스로 경제관념의 폭을 키워야 될 것 같아요. So we all know by now he has a very cute daughter, and he says he plans to be supportive financially until she is around 20. And of course, he wants to give her everything under the sun, but that he wants her to also learn about, financial independence and whatnot. So Tommy, who says, until they graduate from university. Ooh, so Tommy, from the information I have, gathered thus far about your family, I believe your eldest daughter, she's in university right now. So a couple more years for her, and then you have two other. I'm laughing because, I have three also, so I can laugh with him, not at him. He has two more to go. So, we're getting there. So. The emotional support, though, I wonder, does it ever end? And I love what Chris said earlier in hour number 1 about the whole, yes, be emotionally supportive of your child until forever. And also vice versa, being supportive of your parents as well. I think that's a lovely sentiment. And on that note, we're going to get to our special interview today. There's been a lot of talk about what's going on in the United States as of late. Recent reports indicate that U.S. green card holders, 영주권 가지고 계시는 분들, are experiencing increased scrutiny when traveling internationally. Incidents of detentions and deportations have raised concerns about the safety and also rights of lawful permanent residents. Understanding the current immigration climate and travel advisories. This is crucial for green card holders planning trips abroad. And whether you're a green card holder or you know of somebody who's a relative or a friend who may have a green card in the United States, I'm sure you're very interested in this topic. So we have Professor Matthew Bowes, who is from the University of Kentucky, J. David Rosenberg College of Law. He's going to be joining us today to speak on this issue. Hi, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So first of all, green card holders. So that's, basically they're lawful permanent residents in the U.S. from what I understand. Don't they have rights even though they are not citizens? They have certain rights in the United States. Do they not, Professor?
That's absolutely correct. So legal permanent residents or green card holders are individuals who are allowed to reside indefinitely in the United States. They can travel abroad and return as long as they don't stay abroad for too long of a period of time, typically a year. But in general, yes, they do have many of the same rights that U.S. citizens have, especially when they are present in the United States. Many legal permanent residents will eventually be eligible to become citizens in the United States if they choose so. What has been happening recently, I think it has been a challenge to our typical understanding of constitutional rights. But it is clear that if you are a legal permanent resident present in the United States, you have the same rights for the most part as U.S. citizens.
Right. Thanks for clarifying that. And with this increased scrutiny, it seems, at U.S. borders. So I'm thinking when you're leaving the U.S., if you're a green card holder, not an issue, right? But maybe upon re-entry going back to the U.S., is that what is at issue right now?
Yes, we've seen a lot more scrutiny at borders, both in airports and at land borders, where typically there was perhaps less interest or scrutiny of individuals who are returning who are legal permanent residents. In general, individuals who are legal permanent residents can only be put into removal proceedings when they arrive at a border if they have some sort of criminal conviction, if they've stayed abroad for too long. But the Trump administration has used a little-known provision of immigration law to say that there's an exception when it's found that an individual might have some sort of adverse foreign policy effect on the United States. That is currently being challenged in court, but that has been used against individuals who are both present in the United States and seeking to enter.
Yes, and that seems so broad. What does this mean, adverse foreign policy views or effect?
Well, unfortunately, we don't know. Right now, the administration has been using it against individuals who have participated in pro-Palestinian protests.
Right.
That's been primarily how it's been used. But we have seen that the federal government is willing to have a very expansive view of the types of conduct that it thinks make a person worthy of deportation. In general, legal permanent residents cannot just be denied entry into the United States. Even if they are found to have violated some provision of immigration law, they are entitled to due process through what is called a deportation, or sometimes a removal proceeding, in which they get to argue about why they should be able to remain in the United States. I say that just to be clear because I have students at the law school, for example, who are here on visas, and those individuals actually have fewer rights when they're outside of the United States and trying to enter into the United States than a legal permanent resident.
I see. Yes, indeed. That's been a whole different issue as well, with some of the students getting their visas revoked too. And I hear that travelers might be asked to allow searches of their electronic devices. So when we're talking about specifically green card holders and also visa holders in this type of situation, I mean, how are they to respond? Because I think just generally speaking, as just a human being, regardless of, my citizenship status or what color my passport is, people might feel a little kind of like protective, not because they're trying to hide something really, really bad or anything, just like, well, it's kind of my privacy, no?
Of course. I think everybody, that anybody who has that reaction is a perfectly reasonable person. I will say that the scrutiny that is occurring is being applied across the board, including potentially to U.S. citizens. So
yes.
There is less protection to everybody at the border, including in international airports. And it is lawful for Border Patrol to request and search a person's devices. So I'm going to share some information that might sound a little bit scary, but then I can hopefully direct you with some steps that you could take in order to protect yourself. So it is possible that Border Patrol could request to view your phone or your laptop or any other electronic device that you have.
Okay.
If you refuse and you are a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, you would likely be taken into what we called secondary inspection, where they would ask you additional questions, ask for your permission to open the device, and potentially look through your contacts. You can decline to do so, but it is possible that in declining to do so, they might actually just take your device and send it off for forensic testing.
Wow.
That has happened, for example, to some immigration attorneys who have been traveling abroad. If you are a visa holder,
yes.
Maybe you're not a permanent resident, and you decline to have your device searched, you could be denied entry into the United States.
Well, that's really important to know because we have listeners who personally or know of people who might be a visa holder or are a green card holder. So great to get that information out there. So with the U.S. Supreme Court, it seems like they have allowed the Trump administration to proceed with some of these deportations under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. I believe there are certain limitations, but what do you think are some of the potential legal and human rights implications of invoking such a kind of a very old law in today's context and atmosphere?
Yes, I think it's concerning. The law has only been invoked in the past during times of war in the United States, World War I, World War II, and previously the War of 1812.
Right.
What's happening now, several federal judges have ruled is outside of the legal framework that the law was established to target. There were two recent cases actually just a few hours ago in Texas and New York indicating that the law cannot be used to remove two specific individuals from Venezuela to El Salvador and the prison where many individuals are being held. There's a separate case about whether somebody who was removed could be brought back to the United States when that person had protection and was erroneously deported. So I think that this is definitely stepping beyond what anybody expected from this law, and it is concerning.
Ah, yes. There's another facet that I want to ask you about, Professor. The IRS, which for our Korean listeners is like the federal tax agency in the United States. Is it true that the IRS has agreed to share tax information with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE in the States, regarding certain undocumented immigrants? Is this, first of all, true? And then, how does this bode for people like when they know that, this agency is going to be sharing this very personal information and how my taxes may actually parlay over into, any, issues with, I guess, immigration status? Like, that sounds a little scary, though.
Yes, it is another policy maneuver that is concerning to those of us who work in this field. In general, the reason that the IRS does not disclose information is because it wants to encourage payment of taxes.
Right.
People who don't have status can get a tax identification number called an I-10, and they can pay taxes every year. And in fact, thousands and millions of people do. Tens of billions of dollars were paid last year by people who were undocumented in the United States, let alone people who are immigrants. So the fact that that information is being shared is really concerning. The acting director of the IRS has stepped down in protest of that. So I think that the administration, there's concerns about that. But this information sharing is happening on a larger level with other agencies as well who have in the past not shared information.
Yes, indeed. Well, I want to thank you so much for clearly explaining what's happening, and especially for people who might be green card holders or even holders of certain visas. It is a time where I guess you're going to have to be extra careful. Thanks so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
This was Professor Matthew Bose, and the whole issue of whether it's safe to travel or not if you are a green card holder. I don't want to incite any type of alarm or anything like that, because generally speaking, it shouldn't be an issue if, as a professor said, if you are a green card holder, leave the U.S. and then come back or go back to the U.S. within that 1 year span, it shouldn't be of much concern. But of course, these are testy times right now, right? Where people are just feeling extra nervous. This was your special interview. We're going to take a short song break. Here it is. This is Emotions by Mariah Carey.
Oh, you got me feeling emotions.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
Yes. Are we swaying? Oh, we're doing the opposite.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, left, right. Oh, we're doing it all.
Okay, off right. So, if you have not guessed, Stephanie's here for City Insights.
Hello.
Yes.
Happy Thursday.
Yay! I love Thursdays because it's that, takes us one day closer to Friday.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were going to say because you get to see Stephanie.
That's what I meant.
Okay, good.
That's what I really meant. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so beautifully springish today.
Yeah. From
getting
here,
warm.
though, with the window.
Yeah, it looks really
looks
nice.
Quite gloomy.
No.
Yeah, you can kind of see
the sun. The sun's there.
Yes, a little bit. Yes.
So, what do you have for us today?
All right, so first, here's a question for you,
Okay.
Catherine, and listeners. Be honest. On a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, 1 to 10.
How Busanite do you think you are?
Oh, 10 being like
you are.
like 토박이.
Yes.
Oh, I'm definitely not a 10.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
like I don't think I'm a 10. I'm gonna go real safe.
Don't be too humble. No.
I'm gonna be safe. I'm
Okay.
gonna say 6.
6?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no.
Alright.
무서워.
6, okay.
Should I have said 4?
Okay. No.
Okay.
So, listeners, do let us know on
Yes.
YouTube, but it is time to find out. I prepared a quick round of OX questions for you.
진짜 quiz?
And Cantor. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
on Morning Wave in
Yes.
Busan?
Yes.
Oh,
but it's not a quiz, it's
웬일이야?
a personal question. Right.
Okay, personal.
You don't get, it's not right
I
or
like
wrong.
getting
Yeah,
answers
yeah.
correct. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to say the question and I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 and then you can say O
Okay.
or X, right?
Got it.
All right. So number 1, I know what Busan saturi sounds like and I've tried it using it at least once. 3, 2, 1. Oh. All right.
I know what it sounds like and I've tried it. You didn't say, are you good at it?
Okay. So try it out.
Try it out.
Yeah. Right now. Just one.
밤문나.
Oh. Hold on. Say it one more time.
과일하노.
Dang. But it's better than me, I think.
Okay.
Ma.
Yes.
밤문나. Is it better?
Oh, dang. Okay. Think for yourself. Okay.
I
Next.
wish one of us.
I know.
Pretty good. Okay, it's okay. Number 2.
Okay.
I've watched fireworks at Kwangali Beach. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1 negative. X.
Okay, negative 1.
I'm gonna write those down and see if you're 6. Okay.
Yes.
Number 3.
Okay.
I've been pushed by an older person getting off the subway, and I just let it go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, all right.
I've talked about this so many times,
Yeah?
like with Haley off air. Like I just got pushed. Like she butt bumped me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
엉덩이로 ding, and then like I fell over. I was just like, I felt so stupid.
Yeah.
But she didn't even
now,
apologize. But
I'm not even offended anymore.
Yeah.
I feel love.
it's like, okay, another
All right,
time. Okay, one more
yay,
time.
Yes. Okay, number 4. I've cheered for the Lotte Giants at Sajik Stadium and maybe worn a plastic bag on my head. 3, 2, 1. Oh, what's the middle?
the middle?
Oh,
Not the plastic bag.
Okay, but you've been.
Yeah,
and you've
yeah.
yelled.
Yes,
and you
but,
shouted.
but
Okay.
not. So I'll say like 75%.
Okay, a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
a little
all right,
bit.
all right,
Yes.
Number 5, I can transfer between subway lines at Seomyeon Station without getting lost.
Okay, here we
3,
go.
2, 1. Oh, ooh.
The reason why. Yesterday, I took the subway. I transferred at Seomyeon. By the way, if you guys see me, say hi. But I transferred at Seomyeon.
Yeah.
Because that's the route. I know where to get off exactly. And then
Okay.
I got
So
to
there's
take the other
one
train.
route that
For
you
me,
know.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's good. All
Okay.
right. Number 6, I've taken friends or family to Kamcheon Culture Village. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yes, of course.
I
of
love
course.
that
I love
village.
it.
It's so
cute.
quaint. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7, I've eaten seafood at Chagachi Market, even if I wasn't 100% sure what I was eating.
Oh.
3, 2, 1. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
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 I love
자갈치.
멍게. Yes.
보이서 사이서.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
딩동댕.
Yes, ding dong ding.
Stephanie. Okay. Yes.
All right, number 8. I know at least one Busan bus route by heart. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, X. Both of us X.
The one time I took the bus, I got like motion sickness.
Oh, no.
멀미가 이제 버스를 처음 타봤는데 it was
Yeah.
like swaying so much, and then I felt like I was gonna
Throw up.
So I was just like, that's not my thing.
So
Yeah.
subways only.
Yes,
Right.
I take subways. Yes.
Number 9.
Okay.
I've walked along the coast like Ikide or Dongbek Trail. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
This one I
Lovely.
have.
Yeah, 갈매길길, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, number 10. Last one. I've said 안녕하세요 to my building's 경비 아저씨, security guard. 3, 2, 1. Oh,
all the time.
all the time, every day. Love
And
it.
like at my building,
Yeah.
they're like 청년들. They're not even 아저씨s.
Oh.
They're like in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
So of
okay.
course I smile and
Yeah.
say, 안녕하세요.
Are they good looking?
We'll talk about it off here.
Okay.
But you know, some of our listeners,
Yes.
they're commenting, Tommy,
okay.
saying to me, what's the matter with you? You didn't do the plastic bag? Like he's angry at me.
Oh, next time you have
그것은
to.
조금.
Yeah.
Okay, I will. And then
Busan, God.
Leslie said that she actually went to have seafood at Chalgachi. Oh no, and she got norovirus.
I know, yeah.
But
You
that
have
can
to be
happen
careful.
at any like seafood place,
place.
anything raw or undercooked. So
Especially around like February, March.
Yes.
But other than those times, you should be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I love Chalgachi
but
market.
norovirus is so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm glad you're better now, though.
What am I? What am I?
Yes. So 8 to 10 O's, you're basically an honorary Busanite.
I am.
Yes.
Yay! Ding dong ding ding.
Yay! But if you have less than that, it's okay, right? You can be a newcomer. You have time to explore, eat more seafood here in Busan, right?
Yes.
So now, speaking of life in Busan, today we're talking about something that's about to make life a lot more convenient for foreign residents, but also for travelers.
Yes.
Starting this year, the Ministry of Justice is rolling out 2 new initiatives. The mobile residence card for foreign nationals and the e-arrival card system for tourists.
I'm smiling right now. I just got mine a few days ago.
Yay!
Ding dong ding ding. I got it on my phone. I'm so happy.
Oh, how convenient is that?
Yeah, like
Can you
completely.
can use it at the bank?
I mean, I haven't
anywhere,
tried because I just literally downloaded. I went there and I got it downloaded and they set me up, so it's good to go.
That's
so good. I'm happy. Yeah.
All right. That's great to hear. So starting this year, the Ministry of Justice launched a new service, the Mobile Residence Card for foreign nationals living in Korea, just like our host, Catherine. And I met with Ms. Kim Min-ju, an official from the Korea Immigration Service at the Ministry of Justice, to hear about it. So let's take a listen.
Korean citizens have already been using mobile ID cards stored on their smartphones, and now foreign residents can do the same. This makes their everyday life more convenient, as they no longer have to carry a physical ID card. Foreign residents who have registered with immigration offices can download the mobile ID app developed by the Ministry of Interior and Safety to apply for the mobile residence card.
Right. So just like Korean citizens use digital IDs on their phones, now foreign residents can too. It is optional, but like Catherine said, it's super convenient. Right. Yeah.
Yay. So I didn't even know about it until I went and I was waiting to renew my visa.
Right.
That you have to make an appointment, by the way, online. But for this, there's a separate window just in case. And then they have like a QR code system.
Right.
They help you. They're very friendly.
How long did it take you?
To do the mobile residence card, a total of maybe 3 minutes.
That's great.
Right.
Okay.
And they're so friendly there.
Right.
So.
So you can visit an immigration office, fill out a form.
Yes.
Like she said, it takes 3 minutes.
Yes.
But if you don't want to go in, and if you already have the new version of the physical residence card with an IC chip, you can just download mobile ID app, tap your card on your phone, and verify with facial recognition. So convenient and easy.
Right.
And then let's move on to travelers.
Yes.
Here's where the e-arrival card comes in. Instead of filling out paper forms on the plane, tourists can now actually just submit their arrival information online before they land. So let's take a listen as Ms. Kim Min-ju explains about the e-arrival card.
If you are planning to visit Korea, you can go to the official e-arrival card website at www.earrivalcard.go.kr and fill out your arrival card up to 3 days before your arrival. To complete the form, you will need to enter some basic details. Also, if you are traveling as part of a group arriving on the same flight or a ship, one person can fill out the form on behalf of the other group members, which makes things much easier.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this for everyone who is visiting Korea?
Great question. So it's for those staying less than 90 days, but not needed if you have a KETA, which is Korea Electronic Travel Authorization. If you've already registered your stay in Korea like you and are in a group tour group or are airline crew as well.
So you don't have to like scribble the forms on a plane. You're like drowsy getting up. Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's going to be so much more convenient for
absolutely.
travelers. And also, I'm glad that they're trying to be more inclusive of foreign nationals.
I love it.
Yes.
Every time there's like new initiative to, make us feel more at home. I'm just like, yes, please.
Yes.
And I think the immigration service, they will cut down lines at immigration counters and make Korea more welcoming, not just for residents, but also international visitors in the future, which is great to hear.
Right. Because we're always saying how we want to be like a true global hub city, and etc. So this is just another initiative I think that will take us along that route. But
absolutely.
Thank you for that fun quiz.
Yes.
That was so much fun. 이런 것도 했으면 좋겠어.
Oh, yes.
Always.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding. One last time.
Thank you. Stephanie had so much fun. Can you tell?
It was so fun.
Thank you for this edition of City Insights. We'll check in with you next week. Thanks,
I'll
Stephanie.
see you next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, can you believe it's already time to say goodbye on this Thursday morning? And it's going to be slightly warmer than yesterday here in Busan. However, as I said during our weather forecast, for certain parts of Korea, you might be getting a little bit of rain in the capital area. Find us levels not looking good. So wherever you are, I hope peace and happiness find you today. Have a wonderful day. With that, we're going to end it with this one. This is 오빠야 by 신현희와 김루트. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
오빠야 내가 진짜 좋아하는 사람이 생겨서 혼자 끙끙 앓다가 죽어버릴 것만 같아서 얘기를 한다 눈앞에 아른아른거리는 잘생긴 얼굴 자꾸 귀에 맴도는 그의 촉촉한 목소리
누구길래 이렇게나 들뜬거니 얼굴은 어떻게 생겼는지 무슨 일을 하는지 나는 너무나 궁금해
나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우리 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요 나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우리 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요 말을 하면 멀어질까 너무 두려워 너를 잃기가 나는 너무 무서워 말을 하면 멀어질까 너무 두려워 너를 잃기가 나는 너무 무서워 좋아하는 마음에 떨리는 날들에 더없이 덧없이 마음이 커지고 나는 마음에 설레는 날들에 난 헤어나올 수 없어 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우리 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요
나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우린 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요
나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우리 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요 나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를 좋아하고 나를 좋아하고 우리 서로 좋아하는데도 그 누구도 말을 안 해요
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다 축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제